Yes, that is very familiar to us, but we do know where we're going now because we're joined on the line by the boxing promoter Frank Warren. I'm delighted to be able to speak to you, Frank Warren. Thanks very much. He was one of the greats, wasn't he?
He was, a fantastic commentator. He's up there with the Peter O'Sullivans and the Dan Maskells and Rex Guttridges. He was just the Mr. Boxing.
And it's kind of remarkable looking back just how popular boxing was on BBC or ITV in its heyday.
Well, it was, as you know, we've got lots of different TV channels now, and it's all diversified. But back then, it was nothing to get an audience of 20, 23 million. I think when Barry McGuigan fought Pedrosa at Queen's Park Rangers, they had 23 million viewers tuning in for that. That's how popular it was, and over the years, it's been. And Harry was very much a part of it.
And he was there for the Rumble in the Jungle and all the rest of it. I mean, he commentated on all the greatest bouts.
Well, you think, as you said, in the package you put together, he started off with Rocky Marciano, and there's a big name to start with, and he was there all the way through with the Listons, the Foремans, the Allies, the Tysons, and the best of all the British fighters. One that sticks in my mind is when, I think it's 1989, when Frank Bruno challenged Mike Tyson in Vegas for the title, and Harry started cheering him on in the first round when Frank called him. It was amazing, and he sort of showed his patriotism that night.
Yeah, and the other thing that's come clear when we spoke to Barry McGuigan in the last hour, the extent to which some commentators or people who kind of report on a sport or whatever have rather kind of prickly relationships with the people they report on, but Harry Carpenter was clearly very warmly appreciated by the boxers themselves.
I think that's right. Nobody likes to be criticised if a boxer's not had a good fight. They can not take it very well when they're criticised. But having said that, with Harry, I think it was the fact that he was liked by the fighters, and he made them feel very comfortable whether they had a good performance or not. And he had a fantastic journalistic background, as you said. I mean, I didn't realise actually that how many different, how many other sports that he'd covered. It just goes to show you. But his first love was boxing, and that's what I'm sure he'll be known for.
Yeah, and I wonder whether you'd agree with this, or maybe I mean it's just that the sport has changed so much. But it seemed to be a heyday when you talk about the Pedrosa fight at Loftus at Queen's Park Rangers. And 23 million people were tuning in to view it. And some of the other big fights, you talked about the one involving Tyson and Frank Bruno. Again, huge attention, captures absolutely the national mood. Do you think that boxing itself maybe have been eclipsed slightly?
No, not at all. I think it's like all sport. Back then, all you had was ITV and BBC, so obviously that was the choice to watch. And if you was a boxing fan, you would tune in invariably back in those days, watching most of those big fights on BBC. Now it's fragmented. You've got various, I think about 400 satellite channels, and I mean you can go back to those days. Probably programs like Coronation Street or EastEnders, they would get audiences of 20 odd million. They don't get it now, and everything's sort of changed, and that's how it is. But it was the heyday of sport, and it did capture the nation's attention. Newspapers had far bigger circulations back then, so people read about it, so they wanted to watch it. The big build-up to all the big fights. But they happen now. The big fights still happen, but as I say, the audiences are fragmented.
Yeah, but a great man.
Oh, a great man, very well respected. I mean, I didn't know him that really that well, but what I did know him, he was always charming, and he always had a, he sort of had that twinkle in his eye. He likes a joke, and as I say, he certainly was missed when he retired, and I'm certainly, his family and everybody will miss him now.
Okay, Frank Warren, grateful to you for your memories. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Thank you.